Beast Games. Mr. Beast's Amazon Prime show just dropped, and it was kind of okay. Just to give you some context, I've been following Beast Games since before it was officially announced, because I'd be listening to Mr. Beast's podcast, and he'd be hinting on one podcast with Samir and Colin, there was actually a big reality TV show in the works with Amazon. And I think he even teased the name of the show itself, and I was so hyped. I mean, for one, I love competition games. I watch Hell's Kitchen, I watch MasterChef, I've watched like 10 seasons of MasterChef with my wife. Baking Impossible, just anything competition really, I love it. Or a reality TV show with some tension and drama. I'm such a sucker for it. And so I thought, hey look, I love Mr. Beast, as cringe as that is to say nowadays. And you know, he's making a reality TV show, so of course I'm hyped. I'm hyped like everyone else. So as soon as I heard that he was making a competition show in partnership with Amazon Prime, I was sold immediately. And that was I think it was about 6 months now since I first heard about it on that podcast, and of course now it's out. And I have to say, it's pretty mid. The first real episode of Beast Games was actually on his YouTube channel. He posted a YouTube video today where he put 2,000 people to compete for the 1,000 spots in Beast Games. And as you can imagine, to eliminate 1,000 people, there has to be some very big elimination. I think since it's already out on YouTube for everyone to see, I think it's fine if I just say it. So if you haven't watched the video for yourself and you want to watch it, go ahead and watch it. Otherwise, there's going to be some light spoilers. The first challenge was everyone had to split into groups of, what was it? Was it 500? It was 400, right? They had to split into 4 groups, and there was a 100,000 pound rock that they all had to lift together. And depending on which team you were in, that would decide whether you'd go on to the next phase, the next challenge. And at first I thought, okay, well, you know, there's a lot of people, you have to eliminate them fast, so of course it's gonna be hard to do like a skill-based thing, right? So, you know, I let it pass. I'm not a big fan of RNG or random stuff that feels like the contestants didn't really have any impact on the outcome itself, the individual contestants. But hey, look, it was 2,000 people. They just had to do what they had to do. It was a memory one where there was a bunch of briefcases in a grid layout, and they would show you on the screen which one was safe, and they would flash it, so you'd have to memorize which one was safe, and then everyone would run to it and you'd have to go and get a safe one. The next one was a flag catching one, and so there'd be a limited amount of flags on the course, and if you decide to run out and get it, you have to go grab it. If you don't get a flag and someone else gets it before you, then you're eliminated. The contestants, you know, granted, they actually did something quite interesting, and they called out which flags they were going for and that they were going for it, and so most of the first few rounds had very, very few eliminations. So I had no problem with that game. Then we get to game 4, and this one is another RNG one, which honestly, as exhilarating and as fun as it might seem on the surface, it's just another RNG thing where the contestants really didn't have a say in the outcome. And that was because they were divided into groups of 99 people. And how do you play this game? Well, you have to hope that the 99 other people in your group does not fall to the temptation of a bribe from Mr. Beast. And the bribe would just keep on going up. It went from 5k, then it went to 50k, and then it would go to 1 million. What ended up happening was kind of funny, which is some girl at the 50k mark decided to jump off before the timer had even started, got 99 people eliminated, and because the timer hadn't even started, well, her whole team got eliminated. And that just sucks, doesn't it? Because if you were in her group, there was nothing that you could possibly do. You can't restrain someone else. That would get you kicked. All you can really do is just sit there and watch and hope that you somehow was in a group that wasn't tempted to jump out to get the free money. I mean, so once again, yes, I know there's 2,000 people and you need to get it down to 1,000. So once again, I was like, okay, fine, that's all right. So you can just let it slide. Now, granted, by this point, I was still invested. I still have been hyped up for so long for this series that I was gonna watch it anyways. And so immediately, I called up my older sister and begged her to give me her Amazon Prime account so that I can watch it. I'm not Amazon Prime rich yet. I can only afford one Netflix subscription, and that's it. And even, wait, actually, no, she also pays for that. It's a family plan. The first episode starts. They do a small thing where you could get out for some sum of money that's divided by a bunch of people. But the first real game is another RNG. Why is it RNG? Because it's a self-sacrifice game in which you have a row of, I think, 100 people. I might be wrong, it might be more, it might be less, but you're in a row of people, and someone in that row has to willingly sacrifice themselves to leave the game. And of course, most people just don't want to go. And so you have to hope that there is someone in your row who is willing to go. Because that's the only way for you to keep on going in the tournament. You can't leave. There's no tactic. You can't just leave yourself, because then you're out. So you just have to hope and pray that you luckily got into a row of people with one person willing to leave. Then there was a stacking game, which was fine. There was some skill involved, there was some thinking. But immediately after that, it's another RNG game. Why? Because instead of the vertical row, you're now looking at your horizontal row, whoever you're in the horizontal row with, and you have to hope that none of them take bribes from Mr. Beast, which keep on going up. I believe it started at 5k, then it hit 20k, then 50k, and you just have to hope and pray. If you want to stay in this competition, you have to hope that someone in your horizontal row will not give up a free $50,000 or $80,000, and then it went up to $100,000. Like, if you came there to win, and a lot of people quit their jobs and left their commitments and put everything on hold to come to this competition, and I feel like for them to get kicked out because they didn't get lucky 3 times in a row, it's just kind of stupid, and it doesn't feel good at all. I feel like all this self-sacrifice and being lucky in a row of people just feels cheap, and it feels like a very cheap and easy way to create tension. Like, ooh, is the person next to me gonna take the money, or is someone in my vertical row going to sacrifice themselves so I can keep on going in this game? That's just a lot of anxiety with nothing that they can do about it, which is pretty boring. I mean, listen, I really want to get invested into it, and there's a lot more things coming up. It's just the first 2 episodes is just filled with this RNG and self-sacrifice bullshit that really takes the wind out of my sails for my love, or me wanting to love this series. Now, straight on to episode 2. By this point, I was still having a lot of hope, and I still really wanted it to be good. So I still had my hopes high. And it started off with everyone having to pick tokens. Each token would correspond to a game. You were allowed to change those tokens, yada yada yada. But irregardless, everybody who survived, so the 500 contestants, got put into 4 different groups for 4 different games. One of them involves self-sacrifice again. And so the self-sacrifice game, which, mind you, is 1/4 of all the contestants who have to participate in this, in which that group is divided into 2. Whoever has the least players in their group by the time the timer finishes will win. So, once again, a bunch of people crying, a bunch of people saying, I don't want to go, or like intimidating others to leave. Like, if you don't feel like you can make it to the end and win the $5 million, you have to go. And it just feels so empty. It feels so boring. Yes, he did try and twist it up by adding a phone line that directly connects the split group to each other so that they can communicate, but that was about it. It was just another self-sacrifice. So yes, that was only 1/4 of the games. The other 3 did require some skill, though there was still not much individual impact, which at this point in the competition, I'm still willing to give the pass on, because yes, 500 people is still a lot. You still have to eliminate 50 to 60 people in one go. So I don't expect everyone to be playing a 1v1 of chess. I think that's still acceptable. I'm just so sick and tired of how often the self-sacrifice is as a mechanic in all of these games, and I just find it so boring and so repetitive, and every single time it happens, I just roll my eyes, because why? I am still gonna stay tuned for the next 8 episodes. I believe this is gonna be a 10 episode series. I'm still gonna stay tuned for it. I'm gonna definitely watch every single episode, but first impressions right off the gate, pretty disappointed. Maybe I'll do a follow-up next week when episode 3 comes out.
Out in the western sky, as someone told me something, everyone deserves a chance to fly.
Okay, bye-bye.